Okay, so we've got a 99 Polaris SLH Model 700 personal watercraft here, and it was purchased used. And for the first time this year we went out, and what was happening was that we'd done some maintenance on it, and it started off great in the driveway. There was no problem at all. It started right up. It had what appeared to be good torque and so forth. Took it out to the lake and dropped it into the water, and as soon as it started to try and turn over water, it just didn't have the power anymore. And in fact, once you started to take off and get up out of the hole, it would just completely stumble and die. And so we started to troubleshoot that over at the boat ramp, and ran into some people, talked to them. We really felt it was a gas problem all along, based on the symptoms, but really never were able to troubleshoot the problem at all at the boat ramp. So we talked to a guy, and he seemed to know what he was talking about, and it kind of led us in the same direction that we were already headed. Now what we're going to do is we're going to rebuild the carburetors on this machine, and we're also going to do a couple other maintenance items. One of the things that the guy that we spoke to mentioned, he says, without even looking down inside the engine compartment, he says, well, you've got gray hose in there, and sure enough, here's the gray hose, and this is just one sample piece of it. And he said since ethanol has been introduced to the fuel supply, it starts to degrade this line. He says there's plenty of others that have black line, it's not a problem, but this gray line starts to degrade, and it'll eventually work its way into the carburetor, and the carburetor will stop working. That and the fact that it is 12 odd years old here. So what we've done is we're going to replace all the black line with or the gray line with a new black line. So we have that here, okay? The jet ski also has a valve assembly, and we noticed this was in fact, it broke just turning it while we were doing some troubleshooting, and so that's going to be replaced. It's just a knob that sits on top, and the gas lines run to it, and it's an on-off situation. So we are going to replace that, $17 by the way. And then we have the two carb kits. In this arrangement, there are only two, and in addition to that, they are not, it's an asymmetrical situation. If you can kind of zoom in here a little bit, they look identical, however they're not exactly that way. If you look at the top one here, it's a bit wider, it's got some more parts and pieces to it on either side, and this one here is a bit smaller. So I don't know if it's a slave type of situation or what, but Evan was over at the parts house picking this up, and the guy seemed to know what he was talking about. He kind of gave us a little few pointers and so forth about how we might go about this project. And all told, with all the parts so far, we have about $140 into this. And we're expecting after we put this together is that the machine will start, but we need to take it to the lake in order to do the full-on test. We also noticed too, when we were back at the boat ramp, there was this device, and it hangs right underneath the steering column of the jet ski, and it was filled with gas, and there was gas lines going to it and all these other things, and at first blush it looked like, well, that's probably the fuel filter, although we didn't know that for sure. And found out later that this is actually a water trap, and it's got this piece inside of it. And if you look down inside, there's some snotty looking stuff that's accumulated over the years. It's probably never been cleaned, and we're probably going to have to deal with that, either replace it or if we can't clean it. But this is actually what this is. It's not a fuel filter per se, but it is a water trap. So we're going to get into the project this evening and see where it leads us, and hopefully we'll get it all put together. Thanks for watching.